13 Fs were just released. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much looking at the pros' secret little handbooks showing what stocks they bought. You want to find out what it was? Follow along. Welcome to the newsroom. Big news happening. The 13 Fs were just dropped. This is hot off the press. Buffy Buff, Grandpa Buff, made some huge moves. He might be betting against America. We're going to look into that and find out. And also a few other hedge funds that I follow. I'm going to tell you who they are and what stocks they bought as well. Let's first take a look at Buffy Buff. So Grandpa Buff, he's managing a portfolio of $202 billion. So his hedge fund is called Berkshire Hathaway, if you don't know. Total of 44 holdings. Now we're going to take a look at it and see what these holdings are and what the new positions are, the sold positions, etc. We're going to take a look at all of it. If you don't know what 13 Fs are, every quarter hedge funds will release a 13 F, which is pretty much just a disclosure showing you all of the investments they made from, I believe it's April 1st until the end of June. And they were just released on August 14th. This is when everyone gets access to knowing what these investors bought. And that, guess what? They're going to follow them. If Grandpa Buff buys a toilet company, everyone's buying it. Although he does have dementia, you might not want to follow him exactly because he might not even know what he's buying. All right, so looking at Grandpa Buff's portfolio, there's a few things to notice. He did not touch Apple, Bank of America, Coca-Cola, American Express, Kraft, Moody's. Didn't touch any of them. So that's in the zero column. Nothing has changed. He still owns them. He owns massive amounts of these. Biggest position in Apple and Bank of America. So he did lower his positions on Wells Fargo and US Bank Corp. Also New York Mellon, Charter Communications, JP Morgan, Visa. He lowered a lot of positions in banks, which is one thing to notice. And then down here at the very bottom, he completely sold out of these companies. As you can see, the airlines, Southwest, United. He sold out of restaurants. He sold out of Goldman Sachs, Delta, American. We all know this, and Grandpa Buff is probably regretting this move because after he sold, airlines rocketed 50%. So not the best move by Warren. So as far as Warren Buffett's 13F, the one thing that stood out to me is he sold finance and he bought gold. The ticker is GOLD. It's not ABX. That's on the Canadian exchange. I think this is a Canadian website or something. He put 563 million, which is 20 million shares into this company. Massive position. So I'm going to pull up Barrick Gold and take a look at it, see if there's a place for us to get into if you want to follow Buffy Buff. Anywhere in this range he would have bought. So this is the time frame of when this 13F was filed for, which was for end of March, early April, all the way till end of June. Anywhere in that time frame would have been anywhere from $12 to $30. So he bought somewhere in there. He could have bought multiple times, but that's what the 13F discloses. And hey, if you bought in May, you might have the same share price as Buffy. So things to mention, this is a gold mining company and they also pay dividends. So he'll be making dividend returns on these investments. So we got some good support at 26. If I was going to get into this, I would buy it now, but it did run up after hours once this 13F was released. It juiced it up to 29, I believe it's at after hours. So I'm curious to see what happens throughout the week. 30, we got resistance. If it breaks through 30, 31, then this thing could continue to run all the way to 34, 36, and beyond. Remember, you get dividends. So the next hedge fund is Pershing Square Capital, run by Bill Ackman. If you don't know who Bill Ackman is, his most recent big move, he turned, I think it's like 30 million or 27 million into 2.6 billion for his hedge fund. I believe he shorted the markets during the Corona crash, which is how he made that money. 27 million to 2.6 billion. I like this guy. He's good. So here's all the holdings for the hedge fund. In that change column is going to show you if they sold out, if they added, or they left it the same. So the first two, Lowe's and Restaurant Brands, increased both. The other four left alone. And then the bottom ones, Berkshire Hathaway, he got out of Buffy Buff. He didn't like it because he sold the airlines. He's like, what are you doing? I'm not going to invest in you. He also got out of Blackstone and Park Hotel Resorts. Completely got out. He decreased Howard Hughes by 10%. Starbucks, Hilton, Agilent, Chipotle, left alone, likes them. So I want to take a look at QSR Restaurant Brands, mainly because he increased his position by 66% in terms of shares. He added 10 million shares to his position. QSR has taken up 17% of his entire portfolio. So let's pull them up technically. So this is the range where Ackman would have bought. It would have been anywhere from like 28 to 56, anywhere in that range. So yes, he got a great deal, no matter where it's at, because QSR didn't go below that zone. But QSR is holding a nice bottom at $50 support. It's got that resistance at 60. I think it's going to continue to chop sideways, like I said, until we get that stimuli or until we get the Rona vaccine. All right, next one is David Tepper. This guy, his hedge fund's called Appaloosa. Strong performance in Q2, up almost 30%. He manages a fund of $5.7 billion with 37 holdings. Let's pull up his portfolio. So this guy has a lot of holdings here. Too many to go through, but the ones that I took notice to were T-Mobile. Look at this increase in T-Mobile, 666%. Massive. He owns $600 million worth in value. He added 5 million shares, and it's a total of 10% of his portfolio. A bunch of people are buying this up for some reason. I don't understand. I actually have T-Mobile. All right, so looking at T-Mobile's technicals here, he would have bought anywhere in the 80 to 105 range based on that time frame, and it's above that. Another great call. This guy killed it. Can we get in? I'm seeing a great upward channel. It's moving up along nicely, and just based on this guy buying in and a few other hedge funds buying in, it's going to push this up this week. I really think so, and I'm getting a price target of 130. It might not happen in a week or two. It might happen in a month, but T-Mobile's looking very strong, mainly because a lot of people are buying into this. And people need to talk. And hey, is it just me? This is something I noticed. That, yeah, our phones got these cool apps and VR and all these cool things we could do. But whenever I talk to people, it's staticky, it drops calls. The main function of a phone doesn't even work. Am I the only one noticing this? Let me know in the comments. All right, and last but not least, we got Jim Simmons, Renaissance Technology. So this guy does, as the hedge fund name indicates, technology stocks. Up 15%. He manages a fund of $115 billion. Got a lot of holdings, over 3,000 holdings. What is this guy, nuts? He's a gambler. He's addicted. Okay, so again, he has a lot of holdings. I just wanted to look at the one that interests me, which is Zoom. He increased his position 161%, adding 4.5 million shares to his position. He has a total of 1.8 billion in Zoom. And we all know Zoom zoomed up. Let's take a look at the chart. So looking at the chart for Zoom, he would have bought anywhere in the 100 to 240 range. That's a wide range. Very wide range, because this thing just rocket shipped. And it's finally leveling out. It has a rock solid support at 226. It's not that far off. It's at 244. If this thing can have one more bounce down, it will be a great entry at 226. So I can see a short-term bounce and uptick to 280 as my price target for this one. Again, all of these stocks I'm mentioning, they're going to most likely go up because people are going to find out through these 13 Fs that these big hedge funds put a lot of money in them, and it's going to drive them up. All right, so that's it. That's the 4 hedge funds that released info on those 13 Fs, stocks that they're buying. Again, it's a great way to make investments because you're following pros. You're following these guys with massive teams of minions just typing away, making great calls because they're analyzing. They're little scientists. They're just doing algorithms all day. They got guys from Yale and Harvard. They got Zuckerbergs on their team just nerding it up, finding stocks for them to buy in and make their people money. And hey, they might be able to make us a little money because now we're going to copy them. Or are we? Probably not Buffy Buff because he's got dementia, but we might follow some of these. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. That's Tony. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and don't forget, by following these methods, they're going to give you a little bit of an edge to get ahead and get closer to retiring young.